Villarreal and Geno Walsh. We're back. It's live again, the John and Geno show here, number 2. So much to talk about. Geno has been on the road. I think we're live on LinkedIn. We'll see. Hopefully I've done everything right here. And it's really great. Geno has been in Georgia. He's been all around. There's been a lot going on. There's definitely updates to the tariff situation. There's some things I want to sort of revise and extend about the last show that I talked about. Okay, let me put this here. I think we should be good live on LinkedIn. I hope that's the case. Let's hope. I think so. I think we're good there. So fantastic. Geno, let's start with that. I mean, I want to say a couple of things about what I said last time, but really I'm fascinated. You've been on the road. You've been talking to dealers. You've got updates out there. What are you hearing out there on the road? I've seen some things. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, I'm not alleging anything. I saw something by Car Dealership Guy about, Brett Morgan and business. It seemed like there was a lot of business that was done in April. Maybe people were a little bit scared about the tariffs or whatnot, trying to get that buying in, and maybe it pulled demand forward. And now May's kind of slumped a little bit. Interest rates are unchanged. What are you hearing out there from the dealership groups?
Well, I mean, I don't think you're off that May has been a little bit slower. For some dealers. I think on the new car side, especially, there's a big difference between what the pre-tariff payments were going to be versus the non-pre-tariff, and the incentives were taken away. The prices haven't changed on any of the vehicles as of yet. So there isn't like, hey, May 1st came, all of a sudden all the prices are so much
different.
No, they're all still the same currently. I don't think you're going to see any of that trickle through until after June. If it does come through. I mean, because we're 40 days from quote unquote Liberation Day, and we've made a lot of different changes in the last, less than 40 days, right? So there's been all the way up here and then down here, but I know automotive still allegedly at 25%, but I've also read that there's some loopholes with parts coming from Mexico. There's some loopholes from Canada too with the USMCA. So I think there's just a lot of we don't know. I think a lot of people ran to the gates thinking that they were going to run out of deals, and maybe you're seeing that effect. But we got to go back to May. Everybody always forgets that Mother's Day always happens in May. It just happened last weekend. So, Mother's Day always affects car sales in May. And then Memorial Day comes at the end of the month, and that's usually indicatively a great weekend for automotive sales. So I wouldn't get too psyched about what's happened in the first 15 days of May. I think you're going to see some good sales that happen and occur after May. These Tiger Sharks will tell you that.
The Tiger Sharks. I love the Tiger Sharks. Let's give it up for the Tiger Sharks. That is very nice.
I mean, where I found this shirt on the road.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I'm driving all over the place now, which is awesome.
Okay.
But if you get a chance, if you haven't been to one, go to a Buc-ee's. That's where I got the shirt.
Oh, dude, hello, native Texan here. Are you kidding me? Have I been to a Buc-ee's? The biggest Buc-ee's. I love Buc-ee's. Everybody loves Buc-ee's. And it's funny because I was actually talking to a venture capitalist, and I can't remember exactly what it was about, but it was something about branding and just somehow it was about branding. And it was recently, within the last, I'd say 2 weeks. And I brought up the Buc-ee's example because they brought up some other example. And I'm like, look, you can take the same type of business if you have great branding. Of course, there's a lot of other things that go with it. But just, the merchandise in the branding alone for Buc-ee's extends well beyond their, actual stores.
Well, I went in there. I was amazed. They have really good brisket taco first thing in the morning. Gas prices were low.
Yeah.
So that was nice. $2.69, I think that's what I was paying.
Yeah.
$2.69, right? So that was kind of exciting. And then go around and they had a cookie that had totally covered in fudge.
Yeah.
They call it a praline cookie.
Praline, let's go.
But it was it was pretty insane. You walk in there and you're just kind of
My mom just asked for some pralines. Are you kidding me?
And so then the crazy part about it is you walk in there and you see people wearing Buc-ee's sweatshirts and swag.
It's a whole
swag. So you walk up to them and you're like, hey, where's this and that? And they're like, I don't work here. And you're like, all of a sudden you realize there's such a fandom to Buc-ee's that
It's
like people will
crazy.
wear their gear.
So let me ask you, let me put you on the spot, not to put you on the spot, but now you kind of bring it up, you kind of walked right into it. Having experienced Buc-ee's, are you in the Buc-ee's camp, the Wawa camp, the Sheets camp,
It's
or the
not even
racetrack?
close, bro. It's not even close. Buc-ee's is like just destroys.
Buc-ee's destroys,
Yeah,
bro.
it's
Oh
like
my god,
not even close.
I- it's not.
But
It's not.
it's like going to a
Let's go.
Cabela's, you know. That
Our boy Vito might be a little distressed. Might be a little distressed. Does you think he understands about the power of Buc-ee's? Does he understand that?
no,
He
I don't think. I mean, but literally, like it's the brisket taco was unbelievable, and I
Yes,
had to have a brisket sandwich too. I mean, it was just
it's
you
a
know,
whole thing.
it's an experience. Like
It's an
that's what I think a
experience.
lot of people forget when they're running retail in any which way.
Right.
You go to a place like that and you see how like clean it is, how
And,
happy people are. You walk through the door, welcome to Buc-ee's, yay! It
that's
just makes you want to buy more.
it
You just want
does.
to buy more stuff like shirts. You want to buy a shirt.
Yeah.
You see it, you're like, I should buy that shirt.
Mhm.
Where am I going to see this shirt again? Where
That-
am I going to see a shirt with
no,
tigers that are sharks? Where am I
no,
going to see a tiger shirt?
no. It's kind of exact. So that leads me to the other thing, and I'm sure I'm not going to do. We both have been really busy, and you've been on the road, and I've been dealing with all kinds
11 days. I've been on the road 11 days. Started in Fort Myers, drove all the way to Atlanta, one shot, and then I worked
of.
the spine of Georgia, basically Atlanta down to Tifton, down to Valdosta,
Oh
over
gosh,
to Cordell, to Albany, to you name it, I've been there. And
I-75.
I-75 up and down, up and down.
So
So
I want to get into some stuff from last show, but actually let's keep going with that for a second. What are you seeing out there from the dealer groups? You have a pretty good, that's your territory, Florida and Georgia. And remind everybody what you're doing, and just so they have context if they're
yeah,
just
so I left retail automotive after 25 years. I'm working for a wonderful company called Performance Brokerage Services, nationwide, largest volume buy, sell, M&A, automotive, RV, marine brokerage service in the country. We did over 100 deals. We've done over
let's go.
yeah, we're
Big.
there. We're all over the place. So
That's
I did,
big.
my exclusive territory is for Georgia and Florida, and you do what we call get to know your market, and you get in the car and you go dealership to dealership, and you press flush, you say hi, you give out your brochures and your business cards, and it's kind of like it's awesome because you get to actually meet people who are unbelievable operators in these different types of towns. Like I come from South Florida, 7 million people between
Super
Broward, Dade,
Bowl.
and Palm Beach
Yep.
County, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to a place that's south of Macon and you meet a guy who's just absolutely crushing it with his operation, you're totally impressed. I met a guy that's like in one of the smallest towns in Georgia. He's selling 150, 160
Wow.
new vehicles a month.
Wow.
Yeah. How
And
about
that
that?
business might be the biggest business in that community.
Yeah. Well, he's got 2 stores. He's got a parts. He bought a parts store and he has a gas station. Like that guy's crushing it. I mean, he's absolutely crushing it. And a lot of our stuff is confidential, so I won't talk
Of
about who it
course.
is. But you get to meet these guys that like started in one field and got into automotive, and now they're just absolutely crushing it, building dreams and setting up a legacy for their family. It's pretty amazing,
That is amazing. That is really great. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into some of that. There's something that happened to me. I can't get into it yet. Hopefully soon. I'll say this. I had a meeting. Actually, I had a couple meetings, a couple conversations, and one is in the real estate space. I'll say that much. Another one,
Give you a red solo cup. Cheers to
it's
that.
solo cup. Cheers. Here we go. Absolutely. And I am with Coldwell
Full of
Bank.
water, by the way. It's full of water.
There we go. I'm water too. And we got water right here. I'm with
Yeah.
Coldwell Banker in Port St. Lucie. And Jock Chester's my broker, great guy in my opinion. I hope I'm not alleging anything. I don't know what I'm allowed to say live, whatnot. But I am with Coldwell Banker in Port St. Lucie. But I had that conversation there. So there's some interesting things that are maybe happening in that space. I won't say more on that, but I had another conversation or a couple conversations, and I'll put it this spin on it. In the small, medium size, in the ETA, what we talked about last time. We talked about entrepreneurship through acquisition. I had some good conversations there, which really aligns with what you're doing. You're just doing it in a certain vertical, a certain sector, which is automotive, right? But you're doing the M&A stuff. You're helping dealerships, groups grow. You're helping people, get it, basically.
You're changing people's lives one way or the other. I mean, if you're helping them grow, you're building a legacy, a foundation for many generations to build their futures off of. And then if you're helping them divest, you're putting them in a liquidity event that really just fills up the coffers, and they can take that money and send it in a different direction and invest it in their future that way.
100%.
It's awesome. Like, first time buyers, working with first time buyers, people who, maybe they were a general manager, saved a bunch of money, and now they want to go out and, step up and buy a store in a smaller market and cut their teeth and learn how to do the business on their own. Even though they've been an operator and have done it very well for somebody else for a long period of time, that's great. So yeah, it's really cool. It's cool. But the coolest part about it, I'm going to tell you right now, when you're in the car driving, you get to listen to tons of YouTube podcasts.
Oh, yeah, Sam.
And like episode, like right now, I'm like complete. So the three things that happen, right? So like Marvel, Doctor Doom, like nonstop listening to YouTube, like these, I don't know.
How do you feel about that?
Or what the heck they are? What's that?
Iron Man is Doom. How do you feel about
I know that part, but I'm just saying, like they're like telling you the whole storyline.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's pretty interesting when you're in a car for 6 or 7 hours in a day. Then there was like a Joe Rogan podcast that I went down the rabbit hole on, which was Anna Jacobson, and she talks about nuclear war.
Okay.
And how like the nuclear winter, and it's going to be like 72 minutes from the first ICBM that goes off.
Oh, it's no bueno. Yeah, it's bad.
And so then the way the algorithm works for YouTube, you get all of her videos.
Oh, of course, right? Yeah,
exactly. All the way down.
If you like that, here's another 500, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and then there's The Last of Us. Like, so you got The Last of Us, Doctor Doom, M&A, you got Buc-ee's, you got all this crazy stuff that's happening, and I was thinking, man, this is going to be great. Like, I wish I could write down all the stuff that I heard and listened to.
Yeah, all the ideas.
The road,
right.
But it was just
that
great.
show could happen in the car.
Yeah, well, it would be amazing.
I know.
Just sit there and talk about it. What's your opinion on Doctor Doom?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to change the Marvel universe, or is it going to end the Marvel universe?
Oh my gosh, I remember actually. I'm gonna kick myself. I remember I was actually driving from Georgia too, and I had called up a national show. I want to say Rusty. Oh my gosh. And I've been on the show a couple of times. And I called it. Anyway, it was the same type of thing. Like I was driving and thinking, and I called up, and anyway, it doesn't matter. I was a caller, but I want to amend. So there's some major things potentially happening. If things line up, it could get super huge. There's potential serious synergies, I think, with what you're doing. We haven't had a chance to talk yet other than through text, offline. So we'll have that conversation, obviously. And, it sounds like you've got some good things going. I've got some good things going. I think the market's ready for it. I wanted to just give me a couple minutes here to revise and extend some of what I said before, because I know you know me, I know me, and obviously, but I don't know that I was able to fully explain it for the audience, because it's going to sound a little bit sort of self-serving, obviously, but it really makes an important point, particularly now in where we're at in business. And what I wanted to say is this: is like we talked about how I didn't stay in one place, but I'm like, look at all these things that changed, and if I would have stayed there, that was gone anyway. How I saw the future, what kind of employee I am, blah blah blah. If we haven't, I want to rehash all that, other than to say like I've been a polymath, a Renaissance person, super performer, super genius, 3 degrees from elite institutions, honors,
world champ. You're a world champ, bro.
World champ. But I'm not. There's things that I'm not perfect either, right? I'm not the most super corporate person. I do get a little bit. You said impatient. I just am in a hurry. I'm on Silicon Valley time. Like, I mean, I'm built, wired, obviously nowhere near as successful, more like an Elon Musk type of thing. And I think that's a really good and again, analogy, obviously nowhere close to that level of success, never will be. But the point is when I go into a dealership or any business, I've advised literally over 100, maybe hundreds of companies. All right, the Silicon Valley type companies helped a lot of companies. I've seen a lot of companies get funded, VCs, everything like that. I've started my own businesses. I think only one that I've started has not been profitable within 6 months or less. And so the point of it is that when I walk into a business, whatever it is, when I was at the law firm at Wilson Sonsini, Rosati, in my opinion, it's my personal opinion, only now that I didn't think, at a dealership, whether it's out at Coral Springs, whether it's, up for Mayo Maserati St. Pete or something like that, I'm looking at the whole business. How can I make an impact? How can I change the game? I'm looking beyond my position. So in football or in sports, you have players, then you have playmakers. And I'm a playmaker. Now, this isn't just about patting myself on the back, but it's just trying to explain something. Often in this business, we pay people for positions. We don't pay them for performance. And we've talked about that before. Now, you're someone, and I'd say you and Brett Macy, Zach Adams, or some other people that I've seen have broken out of that mold, have done things differently, have seen me beyond what, a certain position, but that's very rare. And, and that, like Zach Adams, he knew enough to just leave me alone and let myself, don't let other people involve with me. Like, just let him do his work kind of deal. And right. So when I'm able to do that, I'm super profitable. And we've shown that to the tune of there's been a number of times where if I walk in and out of the door beyond the position, it's another $100,000 net profit above and beyond the position. Now, it could have been even more than that. And so how do you take someone, how do you have the strength, and maybe I should ask you actually, because you were the one that you were the operator, you were hired, you were the CEO, right? How do you take someone who is a salesperson and basically give them the breadth, the authority, the latitude to really help operate the business or be a partner in operating the business? And I'll come right back to you on that, but I just want to fully lay this out. And that's the challenge, because on the one hand, you have people like, and we see these posts out there in automotive. We don't want any job hoppers. I love the stories of the porter that made it all the way up to the GM and everything. That's great. And I'm not disparaging these people. The problem of it is when you have the porter that made it all the way up to the GM, they probably don't have the undergrad degrees. They certainly don't have the law degrees, the MBA, and stuff like that. They don't have 10, 20 years of experience in Silicon Valley. They haven't been a venture capitalist. They don't have that level of experience. So now when you're dealing with the business that has changed rapidly, that now is dealing with internet, that's now dealing with Carvana, that's now dealing with Elon Musk and Tesla, that's now dealing with I need to send a video before I can get a customer to come in, with AI, with all these different things. They have no idea how to handle that. And 2 weeks at NADA and getting a little certificate is not going to equip you for that. I'm sorry. And so do you have the strength as a general manager, as an owner, as a platform director, as an executive manager of operations, to be able to empower this person to be able to look at talent beyond what the normal old playbook from 10, 20 years ago was, to be able to really supercharge and pivot and evolve your company, or not. Forget about me for a second. Obviously, I'm the example here, but that you can replicate that in many different ways. Maybe it's not hiring a John Villarreal. Maybe it's not paying him $500,000 or $300,000 or whatever it is. Maybe it's like, okay, guess what? I'm gonna hire this consultant that does AI, or I'm gonna do this thing, or I'm gonna pick this vendor. And what we see,
John, you're going.
No, I am. But you get
right.
But I've been thinking about this for a while. So
you're like, in the stream is there.
Yeah. No, jump in here. You get enough of it.
Well, the first thing, you got to have your business be your business first, right? And then if you got
the main thing, right? That's a Geno.
Make the main thing, right? But
I love it.
But after that, you can have your main thing working, and then you can have this other thing that's a new test tube, so to speak, of trying a different way. But the main thing still has to pay the bills, right? So
sure.
If you can still take care of the main thing and then have somebody else there that's, kind of like an atom bomb, so to speak,
Yep.
that's doing its own thing, right?
Right. But if you can walk and chew gum, and we've seen this, and we
But
see,
we get it. 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 We get 100%. So, like, if you're an operator, an owner, you gotta, customers need to be engaged in different ways than they were before. We understand that. I think most people do. Um, you know, try it. Give that person who has all that energy, excitement, and ambition to do it the latitude to do it. Put some parameters around that person,
of course.
but at the same time, let that person go, knowing that there might be some turbulence, right? And you're very good at creating turbulence.
I'm very good at creating money too. But again, pause on me. We see this with whether it's Brian Benstock and Sewell Automotive out of Texas does it too. Hey, I may be in New Jersey, but I'm going to deliver. I'm going to pull service out of New York City. I'm going to deliver cars here.
I
Whether
was just talking to somebody yesterday, and here's something that we haven't done in a long time in automotive business, but like they're doing tent sales again.
oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I had
like
one of my buddies try to get me
yeah.
involved in that. Of
So,
course.
so somebody who's in Miami
Yeah.
is doing a tent sale, say like in Jacksonville, or
Yeah.
Jacksonville doing a tent sale in Miami,
Mhm.
and they're adding another 25 units per weekend to their tally.
Let's
And
go.
they have some people that are single point of contact, A to Z salespeople that are doing the whole deal with them.
Mhm.
They're obviously getting the deal funded, signed up, the whole 9 yards, making money off of the cars, and they do it every weekend. And so, you want to grow some of your people, you put them in a position like that, and they have an opportunity to learn something different, get out of the day to day box, so to speak,
Yeah,
that we're
exactly.
in retail,
And it's
right?
a win-win.
And it's a win-win. Absolutely, it's win-win. And then you can develop your bench that way too. So, but that's something that, like, it's not new.
Old is new.
It's
Right.
been done a million times, just no one's done it in a long time. But it might be new to you. Now, that shouldn't be your main thing, right? Your main thing needs to be your main thing: selling and servicing cars and parts to customers at your physical location.
But
But
maybe,
if you
but
can
maybe
figure out how to add streaming lines of revenue to your main thing, then you should do it. And if you got somebody who's willing, able, and ambitious enough to try it, then sign them up, man.
oh,
Like,
yeah, right, and that's the thing. Like I could look at the books, I could look at the P&L, I can look at the margins, and whether it was in things that we talked about. I don't want to dive too much in that, or whether it was in Texas, where I'm like, I came up with this list of menu things that, hey, we can add these things and add profit, and we added profit to the lines, or whether it's selling, focusing on the high end cars, or whether it's building the cars at a certain spec level, and hey, this is going to work in this market, or that'll work in that market, or we're actually going to lease the cars at a loaner service because that's how you're going to sell the alphas. Just knowing where to go with the business. But I mean, as you said, old is new sometimes. How do you differentiate the business? Maybe you're still doing service, but now we're going to send a video to the customer from the actual text, so to get the comfort level there. And now you get your customer pay up. You get your CSI up. You do different things. It's a single point, the things that you help innovate. Just there's different ways to look at the business. Are you innovating? Are you shifting? Are you changing? Are you stuck in the old ways? Now, no one's saying if it's not broken, don't try to fix it.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. But we've
Yeah.
seen huge amounts of disruption, and it's not going to stop. It's only going to accelerate. So do you have the capabilities for it? And it was exactly what you said before, which is you may come up with this new great play, you and the owner and stuff like that, or you're the owner, and hey, now we're going to modern retail or whatever that it is, right? Or we're going to 1 hour in and out, or we're doing all the internet, or we're going to extend it. Do you have the personnel that can execute that play? I may have a West Coast offense, but I don't have the players for a West Coast offense. And you may, right?
I, I tend to think, at least in automotive, it's the start is the hardest part. Like, you don't need the West Coast. I don't need Roger Craig in the backfield.
Joe Montana,
I
right?
don't need Joe Montana. I don't need any of that stuff, right? What I need is I need people who are willing and able to be ready to have some the ability to learn, right? And
Oh, I lost you there for a second. Do we have an audio issue there, Gino? Yeah, let me see. Go ahead. Did you? I can't. Oh, maybe hold on. Did I pull something down here? I don't. You're not coming through on the board here. I think there's an issue on your end because I'm not seeing it lit up on the board here. Worst case.
Sorry about that.
There you go. You're fine.
I
It's
don't
okay.
know what happened.
It's live. Go ahead.
It's the internet.
It's the internet, buddy.
That's what happened.
So you talk about the play. Yeah, you don't need.
Sometimes it's not about having the best players. Like you put the players out there that you have in place, and you try to develop them. You either get people better or you get better people. But let's start with trying to get the people better first, right? Like,
oh no, absolutely. I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not, right.
Like there's some folks that you think that are going to knock it out of the park, and you put them into this new process, whether it's sales, service, whatever it is, and they fall right on their face. And then you take somebody who you're like, oh, there's no way it's going to work for that person. And you give them an iPad and they're like, Svengalis out there. They're just figuring it all out. They're making it happen. Right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things I would tell you, like, just, if you have a good idea and if it's practical, then it's probably going to make money, right? Like if it's, if it aligns with what the customer's expectations are as far as, the way they want to purchase or service their vehicle, and it's a practical solution, then it's probably going to be a real solution that will turn into, an economic outturn for you. That'll be positive.
And I want to be
always keep the customer first, right? Like, so, you can have this wonderful idea and this wonderful process, but it makes the customer's experience terrible. Then it's not practical.
And I want to be a little bit mindful of the time, just because, like, we both love to talk, and I don't. It's my fault. I didn't fully charge my camera. We're probably good up until like maybe an hour, maybe less. But just in case that goes out, just I'm warning the audience of that.
I think you beat me in talking, though. You absolutely destroyed me in talking.
I'd be surprised.
I want to go back to talking about Dr. Doom.
You might be surprised.
In 72 minutes.
Depends on who you ask.
72 minutes. Do you realize? Here's one of the things I thought was hilarious. 72 minutes. Like if, Putin or whoever presses the button and the bomb's coming over, the ICBM's coming over, we have the president gets 6 minutes to make a decision.
Wow.
Which more than likely will be, let's send them back. There's 1,700 pointing at us, and we have 1,700 pointing at them, right?
Good. It's not good.
And there's only 44, like, I guess you would say, like, missile protectors, like something that's going to go up there and try to shoot down one of these ICBMs, right? Like, there's only 44 of them. There's 1,700 coming. The ratio, if those missiles go up there to shoot them down, like, kind of like an Iron Dome, is literally 50%. So it's over in 72 minutes. So you think about it's 72 minutes. Here we go.
I'll go.
Questions. I told you I would get questions.
I'll go, man.
Just wait a second. Let me finish this.
There we go.
You think about this in 72 minutes. 72 minutes. It's over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have all these people who are like building bomb shelters and like these like bug out camps. They're never going to get there.
No.
Like, what are we doing?
I know. Let me finish this thought because I won't finish it otherwise. But the point is, if you have that situation, what I'm saying is, what I'm suggesting, I'm not alleging anything, but in my opinion, if I had a dealership, I would run it like a startup. You have to be very nimble. You have to pay talent, promote talent. You can't be thinking of, okay, hey, this salesperson, so you can only go to finance next, and then we're only taking finance managers, sales managers. You might take a salesperson and make him a general manager. I guess that happened to Andy Elliott or something like that. You might take someone and want to be a partner with them, because the business is so dynamic. If someone is worth $1 million a year, you got to pay him $500,000 a year or whatever it is, 300,000, 500,000, 700,000, something like that. You have to think dynamically. When you close yourself in and think and put yourself in a box, that's a problem. And I've had a number of general managers and owners and other people say, hey, John, you're amazing.
You got to let go. We got to go to the question.
Let me just say,
let it go. Let's go to the question. Where do you see AI taking automotive, John? Where do you see it? Let's start with you.
Okay. I think, first of all, I haven't revealed a lot. I've been deep into AI for a while.
No, not you. You're deep into AI.
Oh, yeah.
You don't seem like the AI kind of guy. No
I'm
way.
all over it. Well,
I
and you know why? And one of it, it's very exciting. If you're not ahead of the curve, you're behind the curve, and you cannot afford to be behind this curve, and particularly robotics and stuff like that. Number one, and number two is, as we've talked about here, I have extremely strong strengths, but I also have some weaknesses, and I've brought up my weaknesses. That's what I've been working on most of my life. But now with AI gives, it's almost like, remember when you were, because I'm not the best speller and I'm not the best at grammar. I'm much better than average, but not as much as not as good at, still as my overall education level. And I remember when the word processor came out and the spell checker came out and these things, AI is like that. AI can kind of fill some of the gaps that I have. And I think it's a super force multiplier. It's super exciting. So I would say it in a couple ways. Number one, if you're not using AI to capture leads, so you're inbound, your missed calls, your after hours, your chatbot, stuff like that, you're missing a lot of business right there. Number one. Number two, I would also use AI to supercharge your outbound, your marketing, your listings like that. And number three, I think there's going to be ways where you can use apps and stuff where you can, I'm sure I can see it being implemented into trade appraisals, market, updates, inventory, things like that. There's really no part of the business that AI should not touch or will not touch at some point. The question is how fast you can implement it. And the problem with automotive is they outsource so much stuff. So then you're dependent on the vendors and whatever their particular thing is. And usually they're just a one flavor. Hey, we do this thing and we do that thing. And then as what you were doing, you have more experience than I do. You're trying to weave together all these different vendors. Go ahead.
Well, I think here's my thought on AI right now. I think we're at the beginning of the beginning.
Totally.
Yeah. So like the applications aren't even ready yet. Because we don't know the customer needs to provide us evidence how they want to interact with AI.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so how are you going to implement something if you don't know what the customer actually wants? You're doing like top down, methodology as far as trying to distribute innovation. And I don't think that's a proper way to do it. I think the innovation and the way the customer wants to interact should start from the bottom. And then that feedback comes to you and says, okay, like what you were talking about before, right? Which was
chatbot,
some of the small jobs that are, I wouldn't call them menial. I would call them just small jobs that can be handled by somebody else that doesn't require tons of thought, right?
But also like what you were saying, exactly what you're saying.
But in time frames when no one's available, that's a perfect example.
Hey, I want to know what's happening with my car. I can't get a whole service department, and it updates you on the status of your car, right? Hey, I want to.
I think that's a different level, though. I think we're not there yet. I think
no. I got it.
I think having an inbound artificial intelligence bot handle setting up an oil change, we're good to go. But when they need something that requires a little bit more sophistication, like I heard this noise and my transmission isn't working. Where do I do? Am I going to get a loaner? I don't think the AI bot's quite ready to make decisions at that level. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's already at that level.
There's some really good, you'd be surprised.
But I think that's where some of the disconnect might happen and some of the customer experience issues might happen. And once that happens, then you lose the people at the store. Kind of similar to what Paul Gomez is saying, implementation is the key, right? So if you lose people at the store, then they will kill it in the cradle, right? They will literally like go, oh, AI, that's great, it looks great. Boom. Right. Invisible horses is what I call them.
Well, what someone said, an AI expert said, I'm talking about podcast, I've been listening to all that stuff and I've been learning and upskilling, that right now AI gets you one level up. So whatever that is, you're a level 4, now you're level 5, whatever. And that goes back to what we said before, which is, talent and capability. And this is every company out there. It's beyond automotive. This is always the make-buy decision, right? Am I going to have in-house capabilities or I'm going to go outsource capabilities? But even like you might have that's why, companies have their own CFOs and their own, general counsels and stuff like that, because you have to have, in my opinion, it's helpful to have some level of capability and understanding, even if you're going to work with outside vendors internally to know what you're doing. But I think that if you see the pain points, what are the customers always complaining about? They're always complaining about, I can't get a hold of someone.
Yeah, they're complaining about communication.
That's
So
right.
that would be a big one. But do they know that they can communicate with the store with an agentic bot? I don't know. Like for example, when you use your phone bot, there's plenty of people that are looking at a list with phone numbers, and they're looking at the number on the list, and they're pressing the buttons instead of saying, "Hey, such and such, please call 954-555-1212." That's way easier, way faster, but most people don't do that. So they're sitting there hand dialing a list. The technology exists where they don't ever have to touch another button on the phone, but they don't do it because guess what? They don't realize that it's available to them.
Well, and that's
So
what I gave you.
the AI could be ubiquitous.
We're gonna
Everywhere. It can be everywhere all at once.
yes, we're gonna
But
have
if
all
people
kinds
don't realize that, like, I can use the AI to set a service appointment and get a trade appraisal, plus I can also get a lease payment at the same time, then who's going to use it, right? You can have this wonderful, amazing computer that's ready to like handle every single possible scenario, anything as far as an opportunity that's at the dealership level or any business. But if the consumer doesn't know that that exists, then how are you going to wow them, and how are they going to use it where it's effective for you to spend all that money on an artificial intelligence bot that no one uses?
I would say
We had some really cool stuff on all of our websites for many, many years. And I always wanted to get the data on utilization because it looks really cool when they sell it to you from a vendor standpoint, right? You're like, oh, this is great. This makes
now
a lot of sense.
I understand where you're coming from. Okay.
Like a customer can go on
Yeah.
and like they can do price comparisons
Yeah.
on their service work. They can do a price comparison on. They can, we might be a little bit more expensive at the dealership level, but the one down the street for some shade tree mechanic, like broken down, building,
Whatever.
might be $50 less, but they don't believe that it's $50 less. And I thought, like, wow, this is a great tool to have on the website.
Right.
I can also have the service advisors use this tool so they can communicate with the customers to build the value, almost like a true car kind of thing for service repairs. But nobody used it. Like the service people didn't use it. The customers that came to the website didn't use it. All it did was clutter the website.
We're saying to
It
your
was an amazing tool that
so
nobody used. So does that happen? Is that the same thing that happens with artificial intelligence?
no.
Like nobody knows about it. They don't realize the value in it.
I mean, sorry. Let me change that. Oh, what had happened there? That was weird.
I don't know. You left the building.
Oh, my camera went off. That's okay.
Right, so we're out.
Right. No. It's okay. It's okay.
Tiger sharks.
You can keep going. It's my bad. It's my fault. So we'll have John by.
Why don't we do this?
Geno by video.
Let's circle back. I think this is a great start to our conversation on AI.
Okay.
I think the artificial intelligence bots just took you out because
they probably did. They
literally said this has to end now.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this about this because I know what you're saying. So I agree with you, but I would also extend those comments and then we'll close the show. If you're reliant on, and this is to Paul Gomez, if you're reliant on vendors for a quote unquote AI solution, and it's whatever it is, it's X. I don't want to put anyone on blast. It doesn't matter. It could be a chat bot. It could be an appraisal tool. It could be anything.
The Villarreal AI.
The Villarreal AI. It doesn't matter. If you're relying on a vendor for an quote unquote AI solution, then yeah, it may work. It may not work. The customers may like it. They may not like it. You're going to pay something for installation, whatever like that. Then you're going to have all those potential issues, like you said. Okay. What I'm saying is there's no question in my mind, doing the research that I've done, that AI is going to touch all of it. It's coming. It's here. It is hard now. It's a 70% solution, 80% solution, 90% solution, depending on what it is. But that's why if you can get ahead of the game and have people that understand it and are able to implement it, it can be really, really great. It's it can be as small as, hey, I'm doing a car film video.
Why don't we pick this up when your camera comes back?
Okay,
on?
fine.
All
right. Thank you guys. Geno, you're the best. It's always exciting. We love it. Tiger, shark, Buc-ee's, everything. There's so much more to talk about. Well, I love it. This is for Geno Walsh. I'm John D. Villarreal on audio. We will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.